Today, I've got 8 comments I'm going to respond to in 8 minutes. Hopefully, this will be a series thing continuing going onwards as I read every single comment, but I no longer have the time to respond to all of them. So let's jump straight into it. First things first, we have got a comment from Kelly Abroad. You ignore your portfolio because you lose too much money in stocks. Now you start fooling yourself. Now, as much as I might take the mick out of this comment and the attack on me personally, there is a very valid point behind this. A lot of investors, as they're losing money, will mask this. They'll bottle it up and hide, or they'll try to ignore the fact that they're losing money instead of facing their problems head on. Now, I myself understand my own self very well. I know when I'm trying to deceive myself or lie to myself. So what do? Well, the easiest thing I can do is be blunt, be transparent with myself, and that's what reflects in the channel when I'm transparent with you. I understand and I go, okay, you know what, look, I've lost this much money. Have I made a mistake? Okay, logically, what are the processes I've done to achieve this point? Will it turn around? Well, I believe it will. Therefore, I'm going to continue investing. You might say, well, that's a form of fallacy. That's your way of denying that you've lost any money. But again, you've got to face it head on and accept that I've lost that money. I'm acutely aware of my losses, which is about £15,900 in my portfolio, or the equivalent of about 47.6%. So I'm aware, and trust me, I'm not trying to hide it as I talk about it every single week on the channel. You still didn't explain a plan to get 6 figures in 16 months. Even if you save all your earnings from work and 10 times your highest monthly income from YouTube. Now, this is from a recent video breaking down my financial goals. By the end of 2023, I wanted to achieve a net worth of £100,000. Initially, this goal was set at the end of 2019. It gave me a 4-year time period to hit and do as much as I possibly can. However, during this time, I didn't expect that the stock market would go so volatile and much more negative for myself. So at the moment, an element of luck is a very high proportion of how I would achieve this in this time frame. That said, I do still plan to reach or push as hard as I can during this time, turn up, do the work, increase the amount of responsibility I take, and rapidly look to increase my income as well as my savings rate. But at the same time, I am relying on my investment strategy to really pull through over time. So whilst I may not hit this in 16 months, it is still my goal to reach. But what I'll do instead is that I'll just keep pushing, and maybe in 18 months, well, not 18 months, is unrealistic, but maybe in 24 months or 2 years time, I might be a lot closer to 100k than I am right now. Think of all those strip clubs that you can't visit because you lost all that capital. Damn it, what will I do? Keith, what will I do now? I honestly don't know. I'm at a complete loss. What can I do? Keith, I know you've got the shades, right? I know you've been to many strip clubs, but what am I going to do? I've clearly never been to a strip club before. What can I do? I'm going to cry about this. Oh, you know what? I'll just load up GTA Online and I'll just go to a strip club on there. Money saved. Easy method. Boohoo reached their peak in the pandemic. In my opinion, in 10 years' time, people will be looking at their share price chart and still hoping to return to 2020 highs. This is an interesting point. Boohoo's current share price is about 65 pence per share. Now, Boohoo's share price high was £4.40. That is a considerable markup from the current share price. In fact, we're looking at what, a 6, 7, maybe 8 times return? An 800% return on investment from the current level to reach that. That would be a fantastic gain in 10 years' time. Of course, a lot of us are sitting on losses, but perspective is important on this as well. Or maybe it won't return to that level of share price, but it may return to £2 or £3 per share within that time horizon. Now, if you lowered your average down to 80 pence per share, for instance, you're going to have a remarkable gain on your money, which might be 300 or 400%, which is still very strong indeed. Boohoo is the emotional response Oz will have in 10 years when thinking about this investment. Well, let's see. Let's go and fast forward 10 years and see what happens. Maybe I've still got the hair and haven't cut it since. That would be interesting. Fantastic idea setting this out. Would love to see it revised in the future or revisited in the future when goal dates come up. This is towards my financial goals. While I have your attention, how do you feel about the military and saving? Obviously, I'm not in the military, but I've looked into it before. This was my backup plan. My initial backup plan was that, you know what, look, if I can't do this, if I fail to get a good career, I'm going to join the Navy because there is many advantages in place. Firstly, if you're invested in the stock market, it's going to be more of a distraction. If you're focusing and you're fighting for your life in extreme situations or extreme methods of training, quite frankly, a stock price going up or down is not going to bother you as much. Your mind is completely, your concentration is diverse elsewhere. Furthermore, in likes of the Navy, where you're out and you're on board a ship for, let's say, 8 months a year, this means you haven't really got to worry about paying for much of your utilities, your rent, other household bills, and probably it's going to be hard to maintain a relationship with a girlfriend, so you're going to save money there as well. And it just effectively effectively means that the money you do earn, you can invest a high majority of that and still live a luxurious lifestyle if you do go out, obviously, during that time. So I think there is a lot of advantages there, especially when we consider their pension plans, which are incredibly good and I think provide you an annuity going forward, which is a constant income each year. So I wouldn't certainly put that off. I think that's definitely a good idea in there for sure. You shouldn't place all your eggs in one basket. No one likes losing money. Now, I believe in order to outperform the market, you need to choose your best ideas, your best investments. Now, I personally believe as well that it's a difficult thing to have many great ideas. I therefore put all of my attention into a few eggs. These few eggs, I believe, will generate stronger returns over the longer term because they're by better ideas. Therefore, I believe by having less eggs or less baskets and more eggs, I therefore believe I can outperform the market by better selection. However, so far I'm down, obviously, quite a considerable amount at the moment, but that is my investment strategy going forward. It's very unlikely I'm going to hold more than a handful of stocks at max, although I will be honest, 2 stocks is probably a bit too extreme and I probably wouldn't recommend that to anyone unless you personally ran both of those companies. Oh, excuse me. Disagree, this channel will grow. Give it 12 to 18 months and he will give up on him. Yeah, you know what? I'll give up in 12 to 18 months because I've not already been doing it for 2.5 years. Come on. And it's the same with the stock market. People are like, oh, you'll give up, you'll get hurt, you'll get burnt. I'm already down 50%. What's going to stop me now? Am I really just going to give up because I'm down 50%? Or at one point I was down 18, 19 grand nearing my annual salary and it was higher than my annual income 2 years ago. Did that mean I was going to give up? Hell no. And the more you say that, the more fuel it adds to my fire. So go ahead. Keep saying it because I'm going to keep trying. As for the channel small improvements, as said before, I'm looking to really upgrade the quality and the content of these videos, and I'm just going to keep pushing because that wheelbarrow will not push itself, and that hill needs to be pushed up, otherwise you're going to start rolling downhill. Obviously you might go, oh, there's an alternative path around that way, but you don't know how it lies because it's around the corner. Push the wheelbarrow up the hill and that's what matters the most. In 12 to 18 months, the improvements I would have made, even if the channel hasn't grown, will likely be very valuable, and the lessons learned in that time, obviously, and the lessons learned, in fact, the lessons I've learned the last 12 to 18 months have been truly invaluable. So to go another 12, 18 months, hell yeah, I'm down for more of that. I want to learn as much as possible. Just remember that you're gambling and have no idea what's going to happen next. You're not investing, so stop. No punctuation in that one for me, but okay, yeah, I'm gambling. I don't know what I'm doing. I've not looked into my investments. They're not simple investments. They're not easy to understand. I couldn't explain it to a 5-year-old. I don't know how these businesses are going to grow, so how am I going to do anything but gamble? I've done the research. I may not demonstrate it anymore as much on the channel, but certainly I understand my investments and I feel like I know what I'm doing. Obviously my results say otherwise, so just don't do what I'm doing and perhaps you'll have a better investment strategy. But let's truly see how this plays in the longer term, because it truly hasn't been long enough to see a sustainable return over the longer term, especially when we consider that markets can be in a bear rally longer than I've even had a portfolio. Fun fact of the video: studies show that roughly 12% of people, of every one of you, dream in black and white. Now, interestingly, before coloured televisions, this was actually more or less 75% of people dreamed in black and white. So is television influencing our dreams and causing them to produce colour? Or did we just not appreciate colour for what it was in the past? Fun fact of the day, have a fantastic weekend.